One of the questions we get a lot at Mad Baits is when anglers are fishing weedy waters, how they cope with it and how they get the best results. So who better to answer that question than our main man, Jerry Hammond. So Jerry, you're tackling the weedy water for the first time. Sometimes it can be top to bottom. What are your main approaches for fishing in weed?
Well, try and find the areas with no weed. No, a lot of the waters I'm fishing recently are all weedy as hell, and they are problematic, and they can be a nuisance. But carp love the weed, and as you know, they're always going to be in that weed bed somewhere, especially during the daytime. So yeah, I mean, there's going to be clear spots, or you'd hope. If there isn't no clear spots nowhere, then basically you can't fish. It's going to have to be margins like all the way around. So yeah, I mean, over on Vinatro was very weedy. And it got to the stage, it was like daisies were growing on top of it, you know, little flowers were sprouting, and it was horrendous. And I literally pulled off because I just thought there's no point. But as the winds start to come, like they are like now, when on my recent lake, the wind's been uplifting all the weed beds and they're floating around. Over on Vinatro, it was leaving lovely clear spots on the bottom, and they were the places that the fish love it. I mean, they're under them weed beds, clearing it off all the time on the bottom. So the weed bed just uproots, or it's just a canopy that's held there from the surface, and that wind picks it up and moves it, and they're the best spots in the world to fish. Is where I caught the big one out of Vinny on a weed bed that had moved away, leaving a nice clear spot. Still weed surrounded, but there was a big clump of it that pushed off. And yeah, weed fishing drives a lot of people bonkers, but if you can stick with it, it's definitely, you know, the hardest thing of all, as we all know, is getting them out of the weed.
If there is no clear spots, would you be a solid bag man or would you be more of a chod man?
I.e. just throwing it straight in the weed?
Just throwing it in the weed, just you've got no other choice.
Yeah, I've seldom just throw it in the weed, like, you know. I like to at least find something. I have fished long chods. There was a big weed bed over Vinatro and the fish were evidently in it. They were cruising around all day long, and it was just before they spawned over there. And I couldn't present anything in it. So what I've done in the end, where I've been up the tree and where the weed bed was sort of below the surface by a few foot, I managed to present like a chod on a line with a long hook link, and with a long, the hook link was like 4 inches long. I put the bead way up the top, and as I cast it with a light lead, it came down and it settled down absolutely bang on top of the weed, and sort of just had a slight bow to the rod tip. And the carp were cruising around with the shoulders out, and straight away I saw a big set of shoulders aiming towards the bait. I took no notice of it because they've been doing it all day with no bites, and then all of a sudden it just rocked off. Cut a long story short, it was the big one, the big Vinny fish, possibly close to 60 pound at the time. It launched itself out of the water with my rig in it, and then just went on a 100-mile-an-hour sprint, and sadly I lost it. But it got me a bite, and just wasn't lucky enough to land it. So brilliant. Yeah, I'd rather a chod than a bag, me personally. If I can get away with it.
Good stuff. Well, yeah. There you go. There's Jerry's top tips for fishing and weed. Give it a go.